The Seattle Seahawks survive a late push by the Arizona Cardinals, but I don't think I believe in either of these teams. That and more on today's edition of Locked On NFL.
The new Locked On NFL. The madman Tyler Rowland is your double shot of NFL espresso, with the Locked On local experts on every major story. Get ready, Rowland is revving up. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Football fans, welcome into the Locked On NFL podcast, bringing you a double dose of the NFL's biggest stories with help from our local experts that know your favorite teams like no one else. I am your host, the madman, Tyler Rowland, joined today by Locked On NFL expert Nick Cattles on today's show. It's a FanDuel Friday, so it's time for the madman's moneymaker. I'm going to go over my 5 best bets of the weekend, and I'm telling you, folks, I'm letting the dogs out. But we got to start with a great football game on Thursday night between the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals, where it's a little too late for the Cardinals to do what they should have done in that game. Before we dive in, though, do want to thank you for making Locked On NFL your first listen. Also, want to remind you that you can follow our show and hear new episodes ad-free daily on Amazon Music, so go check that out. Also, thank you for being an everydayer here with us at the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Nick, that was an excellent football game, but for me, the big takeaway is I don't really think that I trust either of these teams to be real contenders, even if they make the playoffs. Seattle couldn't close it. The Cardinals started out so slow. I mean, both of these teams have redeeming qualities, but I just don't think that I trust either of them to be big players when it really matters.
It was a fun final 7 minutes. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals offense was absolutely atrocious for 3.5 quarters. Kyler Murray was captain screen over and over and over again. Marvin Harrison Jr. played like he was in a trance for the first 3 quarters, and all of a sudden he awoke like Undertaker out of the coffin back in the WWF days. But, you know, you look at this, I'll tell you, Tyler, the coaching over the final 5 or 6 minutes was so bad each side. You know, I thought you look at Clint Kubiak on second and third down. He runs the football before that missed field goal, before Arizona takes over possession. I thought that was incredibly conservative, especially given the fact that Arizona had a couple of timeouts. You weren't at the 2-minute warning yet, and he played that way too conservatively. Then I thought Mike McDonald calling a blitz on 3rd and 9 allowed Arizona to extend that drive to get the game-tying touchdown. And, of course, then Jonathan Gannon doesn't go for 2. He kicks the extra point, leaving it a tie game, which a lot of people analytically will tell you is the worst decision you can make. And then to top it all off, Tyler, of course, we have, Chad Ryland kicking short of the landing zone. And I don't know how you feel, but the landing zone playing a significant role in the end of a football game is still kind of a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know that I like that 1 yard from a kicker makes the difference between that much field space. But at the end of the day, that is the rule. And it's crazy how stuff like that pops up. And it's so important to be able to trust your kicker. But you're right. I think the big story of the game, and I feel bad, Seattle won the game. I don't want to bury them. They deserve their credit here. But Arizona just not being able to do anything on offense early in the game. It was just so frustrating when they have so much talent on that side of the ball. You have a top 5 pick left tackle. You have a number 1 pick quarterback. You have a top 5 pick wide receiver. You have one of the top 5 tight ends. And I mean, even some of their auxiliary pieces, like Trey Benson's a good runner, even with James Conner out. Michael Wilson, pretty solid player. Like, they have so much talent on offense that I feel like the coaching is a big problem. And Drew Petzing is a guy, the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, that's taken a lot of heat. But I will say this, seeing the Cardinals kind of come alive at the end of the game, I think that's even more of a black mark on Petzing, because it's like when Petzing is in control and running his stuff, they can't do anything. But when they get a little bit of tempo and Kyler Murray's kind of calling the plays at the line of scrimmage, now all of a sudden they start to get the ball to their playmakers and have some success. And that's something my guy Alex Clancy from Locked On Cardinals talked about after the game, that it was a slow start, but kind of a moral victory, I guess you could say.
I mean, what are we doing here, guys? Arizona Cardinals lose in the most Arizona Cardinals way. That was the most redeeming variation of a loss that we could have experienced for the Cardinals. They showed offensive fight down the stretch, tying the game. Marvin Harrison Jr. showed everybody that he's still a good wide receiver. But, man, how embarrassed should you be if you're the Arizona Cardinals offense for that first 3 quarters of play? The defense, stout. The defense, top 5 potential. But Drew Petzing and the Arizona Cardinals took the first 3 quarters off. Marvin Harrison Jr. still struggled with catches, but the vindication the Arizona Cardinals had on those last 2 scoring drives will be enough to take them moving to 2-2 palatable, playing Tennessee next week. All that and more this week. Locked on Cardinals, your team, every day.
See, they do play the Titans at home next week, so the Cardinals are going to go to 3-2, and they're going to be still a team with a winning record. But because of that slow start and Petzing at offensive coordinator, I just cannot trust them whatsoever.
Yeah, and listening to Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels tonight, I mean, look, James Conner is a good football player,
yes.
But the fact that they lost Conner, they made it sound like they lost Earl Campbell. They lost Emmitt Smith. They lost Derrick Henry. It's like, oh, man, well, the heart of the team is James Conner. I'm sorry. Kyler Murray was the first pick overall in 2019. This is his, 7th year at this point in the NFL?
Yep.
And the fact that, you have to lament that you lost James Conner. Why is the quarterback not the guy galvanizing this football team? You can't turn around and say, oh, well, they lost James Conner, so they're going to be dead in the water for 3 quarters. I mean, that's inexcusable to me. It's time for Kyler Murray to step up and say, I can do this. Now, maybe, Tyler, the end of this 4th quarter, maybe that's the moment. Maybe that kind of kickstarts Kyler Murray's season, and he starts to prove that he is a leader. But that concerned me. If I'm a Cardinals fan and I'm listening to them lament about James Conner not being there and how he's the heart and the soul, I'm looking around saying, how about the guy who was drafted number 1? He needs to show up.
Yeah, no, you are 100% right on that. Like, let's just be honest. The running back conversation in the NFL, James Conner, very good player, like you said, but he's not a Derrick Henry. He's not a Bijan Robinson, a Saquon Barkley. It shouldn't kill the Cardinals season. And Trey Benson looks like a pretty good player. It's not like Trey Benson is chopped liver out there. So I'm with you there. Kyler Murray needs to step up and be more of a leader for this team, and maybe he can get them out of that rut early on. But looking at the Seattle side, like I said, I don't really trust either of these teams. When it was time to close the door for Seattle, they could not run the ball whatsoever. They were so conservative, and that didn't allow them to close the door either. Both of these teams are probably going to be decent middle-of-the-road teams this year, but if either of them make the playoffs, I think they're going to get firmly whooped in the first round.
I mean, the best thing about Seattle, well, number 1, JSN's legitimate. They're bona fide number 1 guy. Didn't do much at all in the first 2.5 quarters or so. Picked it up later in the game. I mean, that stutter and go route that he ran towards the end of the game was a fantastic route. He's just an excellent wide receiver. But really, I mean, you look at Sam Darnold, I'm always going to have questions with him when the pressure picks up and the game means more and he's in the postseason. I just can't get over. I can't shake his finish to the Minnesota season last year. It was that brutal. And they're going to survive with their front 4 with the capability of rushing the quarterback. They can get home with the front 4. They don't have to send extra guys, which is another reason why I just don't know why you blitz on 3rd and 9 when Mike McDonald did. But I digress. That defense is going to help lead them. But at the end of the day, Tyler, I don't know who trusts Sam Darnold. I don't even know if Sam Darnold's family trusts him if you're talking about a playoff game.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right there. It's kind of hard to shake that. But both of these teams are okay, you know what I mean? But that's just where I'm at with both of them. Fun football game nonetheless, though, and I expect some fun football this week as well. It's a FanDuel Friday, folks. The Madman's Moneymaker is on the way, and we're headed to Kansas City. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's the local sports bar that's packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades. These are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And think about how they're thriving in Seattle tonight at Nano's Wine and Beer or at the Union as well. Thriving in Seattle after that victory. Either way, as I told you folks, Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnNFL to learn more. But before you do, make sure that you go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy that you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. Today's episode is also brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. It's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order, this player delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. And for a third week in a row, I am going with Baker Mayfield from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who once again delivered in a big way, getting a game-winning drive, scoring in the last moments after his team tried to give it away to the New York Jets. But no hesitation, no delay, going with Baker Mayfield. After watching him come back week after week, you know that performance isn't a fluke. Baker Mayfield is on a streak. And just like Baker Mayfield delivered for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep your streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November the 18th. All right, Nick, let's continue today's edition of Locked On NFL. And again, it's time to get into the Madman's Moneymaker on a FanDuel Friday. I give you my 5 best bets of Week 4. We went 3-2 in Week 1, 3-2 in Week 3. We're not worried about Week 2 right now. The past is the past on that. It's time to move forward, and we start with what I think is the best game of the weekend. It's the Kansas City Chiefs against the Baltimore Ravens, and I, once again, am taking the Chiefs as a home underdog. They're getting 2.5 points against the Ravens. No way in the world that I am trusting this Ravens defense right now. And the Kansas City defense seems to be improving, which is something our guys over at Locked On Chiefs talked about.
So now they're going up against a team that is a whole lot better than the New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. And if they come in with the same performance that they brought to New York, they're not beating the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they have to continue to dial it up.
And it goes further than that for me, because when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to be just as desperate as Kansas City is. They're 1-2. They've lost 2 games. They need to win this next game just as much as Kansas City is going to. But
both teams need to win. I get that. But with Kansas City being at home, Steve Spagnuolo's defense having success against Lamar Jackson historically, I'm taking Kansas City with the points plus 2.5. Nick, I know the game's got you excited, but we,
Yeah,
make sure that we come out strong.
They might call you the madman, okay? But I might be a madman for picking against the Chiefs again. I'm going Ravens minus 2.5. I know that the Ravens, their kryptonite defensively, Tyler, has been their run defense. Here's the good news. Kansas City can't run the football. Patrick Mahomes is the only guy on that team that is running the football, which is not good for them.
Not good.
I think the secondary of Baltimore will be able to limit Kansas City. Tyquan Thornton's a nice story, but I don't think Kyle Hamilton and company are afraid of Tyquan Thornton. I think when you look at, Baltimore winning in the trenches, they run the ball better than Kansas City. I think Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson's going to give him some headaches. I actually think Baltimore wins this football game by a field goal.
Well, that would absolutely lead to them not covering. And I got to tell you, Nick, to give you some credit, last time I tried to take Kansas City as a dog at home was against Philly, and I'm pretty sure you were against that one, and it turned out that you were right on that one too. So maybe I'm just giving Kansas City too much credit, but I'm going to start out with the 2.5 for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it that you like the Chiefs at home, underdog. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's tough to bet against them. But I'm going to double down going against them and rolling with the Ravens minus the 2.5.
Listen, I don't think you're crazy. We're going to have to see how that one works out. But either way, that should be a good football game. It could be the best game of the weekend. I think a sneaky great game this week that isn't going to get as much pop as Chiefs-Ravens for obvious reasons is the Indianapolis Colts, 3-0, going on the road to the Los Angeles Rams, who I think are also one of the best teams in the NFL. And I have been someone who said I don't believe in the Colts. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. Maybe it's a little, two-tone blue bias that I got going on there against those freaking Colts who just, I can't get off my back my entire life, but I'm rolling with it. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts plus 3.5. You break through that key number of 3. The Rams have a very good pass rush, no doubt about it. Great defensive line. But the Indianapolis Colts have a very good offensive line. And while I don't think the Colts pass rush is anything serious, I just think the Colts are super well coached right now. They know exactly what Daniel Jones needs to do. They give him all the answers to the test before he even shows up. And I don't know that the Colts win this game, but I think the Colts absolutely keep it close with how good their offense has been lately. Give me the Colts plus 3.5, another underdog.
I just keep going back to last weekend's game. The Rams losing a crazy game because of a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. They were a crazy blocked field goal away from winning at Philadelphia. How much better would you feel about the Rams if they actually kicked that field goal through the uprights? I think, look, Daniel Jones has been really good. Analytically, he's been terrific. EPA, all those different stats you can look at. He's been excellent. But I do think this is the week that Daniel Jones comes down to earth at least a little bit, a smidge. And I'm taking Stafford. I'm taking Puka Nacua. I'm taking the Rams. They'll score against Indy just enough. I like LA by 6 at home.
Hey, that's absolutely fair. 6-point win is a lot, though, because I think the Colts are going to be uber prepared, and that's something my guys over at Locked On Colts talked about.
And it was kind of evident from by the end of the first quarter that these were two different classes of teams. Like the Colts were far ahead. And I think it shows just, again, this Colts team does feel so much more different than the Colts teams we've seen the last 4 or 5, like since the Phillip Rivers season. I think this Colts team is showing that they can maybe be an equal to that Rivers season, or maybe even better than that Rivers season, because they're not just taking these lower teams lightly. They are taking care of business and winning by 2-3 scores.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not taking anyone lightly. They're not falling victim to trap games. I mean, no team intends to do that or take anyone lightly, but we have seen the Colts go into matchups that they should handily win and just go in completely lifeless. They took care of the Dolphins by 25 points. They took care of the Titans here by 21 points. I'm not good at math, but I think I'm right there. Like, they are killing the bad teams. And then with the Broncos, which we would consider a quality win, they went toe-to-toe with a reigning playoff team and beat them by a point at the end.
Now, I think that the Colts are going to be able to run the football. The Rams gave up 114 yards to the Texans, 109 to the Titans. They did, lock in against the Eagles and only gave up 86 there, which is the toughest test of all. But I do feel like this Colts team is just on something different right now. So I think I agree with you that the Rams win the game, but I can't ignore that number. Give me that 3.5 for the Colts.
Yeah, shout out to Jonathan Taylor, who's been awesome this year. He has almost 300 yards after contact in the first 3 weeks, which is just ridiculous. The offensive line's doing a good job protecting Daniel Jones. The Colts, they're kind of on a heater here, but they got to go out west, and I'm still going to stick with the Rams. I think they'll score enough points and get it done.
And I'm not going to say I'm going to be mad if the Rams do. I would absolutely love if the Rams took out the Colts. I can't lie about that one. But it should be an excellent game nonetheless. But there are some other games on the slate that I'm very interested in as well, including the trip overseas, the international game in Dublin between the Steelers and the Vikings. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. Whether it be footwork, whether it be breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You could feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery. You make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. I got a Mazda CX-5 at home. Absolutely love my Mazda, and I know you will too. Like our favorite players, Mazda sweats every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. It's Mazda. Move and be moved. All right, Nick, let's continue today's edition of Locked On NFL and cap things off here as we get ready for week 4 in the NFL, the first month of the season. Kind of crazy that we're already that deep into the slate. But with that being said, we finally get another international game on the schedule. Over in Dublin, we're going to have the Steelers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. And look, I know that the Vikings are a well-coached team. I think Carson Wentz might actually be a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy right now as things stand. But T.J. Watt got going a little bit, and I think that Steelers offense is going to be able to have some success as well because Aaron Rodgers knows a little bit about Brian Flores, and that matchup of Aaron Rodgers' offense against the Minnesota Vikings defense is something that our guys over at the crossover between Steelers and Vikings talked about this week, but I'm going to take the 2.5 with the Steelers.
It's a different look because with the Jets, like you said, they tried to recreate the Green Bay offense, and that's just really hard to do at his age. But with the Steelers, they acknowledge like they have a different skill set of guys. Like they don't have a run of wide receivers that are just going to win their one-on-ones every single down. They have tight ends, though. They have size. Like, that's why they're winning in the red zone so much. If they get inside the 10, you got DK Metcalf, who's big as all get out.
Yeah.
You got Pat Fryer. You got 3 tight ends that are threats in the red zone. Pat Fryer, Johnny Smith, and Darnell Washington, who's like 6'7", and though he's listed at like 280, he's more like 310. And but all of them can go up and get the football. They can bully you when you're trying to guard them. And so it allows him to kind of spread things out and say, which big guy am I going to throw to here? And so I think what they're still trying to figure out is how to balance the passing offense with a run game that still isn't quite efficient yet.
And here's my thing. The Vikings love to blitz. Flores brings a lot of pressure. Aaron Rodgers has seen every blitz you could ever imagine, so he'll have the answers quicker than most quarterbacks against that pressure. And like what Chris was talking about, the Steelers' best players are big, physical guys who can win in the red zone. And when in doubt, when that blitz comes, you're going to get man coverage, being able to throw it up to DK Metcalf, throw it up to Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington. Like, I think that the Steelers have the answers to what the Vikings do best on defense. It's going to be a close game, but give me the Steelers and the points plus 2.5 in Dublin.
Maybe this is recency bias. Maybe. But I'll tell you, I don't think Pittsburgh's that good. I don't think they're good at all. I mean,
they didn't play that well against the Patriots, did they? They kind of
No.
got lucky there.
I mean, the Patriots had 5 turnovers, and the game was still 14-14 somehow, some way. Usually when a team turns the ball over 5 times, they lose by 3 or 4 scores. The fact that the Patriots were still hanging around in that game tells you more about the Steelers than it does about the Patriots. And in the second and third quarters, Tyler, the Steelers had 1 first down against a Patriots defense that could not get out of its own way. So if the Patriots defense can do that, I've got to figure that Brian Flores will find a way to just make sure that Pittsburgh doesn't move the ball against them. They're not very explosive. I think the Vikings will do enough to slow down that offense. I think Minnesota scores enough thanks to Kevin O'Connell. I don't think the Steelers defense is very good. The Patriots moved the ball up and down the field. They just kept fumbling it away. It was easy for them to move the ball with Drake May. I think Kevin O'Connell will have a good plan. I'm taking Vikings minus 2.5 in Dublin.
One of us is going to make some good money this week, Nick. We're over 3 on connections. Let's see if I can get you on this one. I think this one's a good one. I feel probably as confident in this next bet as any bet I have this weekend, and that is the Chicago Bears plus 1.5 at the Las Vegas Raiders. There is just no chance in the world that the Bears offense isn't going to be able to score enough to outscore the Raiders by 1.5 points. And my guy Lauren Cox from Locked On Bears talked about how this offense is getting going.
That's not to say that the defense is going to be this anchor that slows them down, but it does feel like the offense is going to be need to be the side of the ball that wins them the games, and the defense needs to be the side of the ball that doesn't lose them the games. Whereas in the past, sometimes it felt the other way around, where the defense had to win the game, the offense just had to not lose it. But it feels like the balance is shifting the other direction, which is understandable with an offensive head coach like Ben Johnson and a bunch of the resources this offseason all being put on this Bears offense.
Genty can't get going. Brock Bowers is banged up. Jacoby Myers is just an okay. I think he's a number 2 wide receiver, not a good number 1 wide receiver. The coaching staff just seems like they are archaic in their philosophies and how they're rotating out their best players for lesser players. And that Raiders defense is not impressive whatsoever, in my opinion. I think that this Bears offense is on the precipice of taking off. I believe in Ben Johnson. At the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. Give me that 1.5 points for the Bears at the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Bears win handily in this one.
We just are not on the same page this week, Tyler. We just are not.
We aren't.
I need to see Chicago do it more than once, frankly. And the fact that they did it against Dallas, I'm sorry. Dallas gave up a ton of points against Russell Wilson, who is now benched by week 4. So that Dallas defense, down a couple of corners who they might get back this weekend, their defense is in shambles. So the fact that Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams took advantage of that defense in Dallas, I'm not going to overhype them just yet. I I agree with you. I think they can score points, but I also think the Raiders can score points against the Bears because their defense is not very good either.
They are injured bad.
I think this kind of has the makings of a shootout. I actually lean Geno Smith over Caleb Williams because I've seen Geno Smith do it more than Caleb Williams. He's more trustworthy. So I feel like this is a late cover. Vegas by 3.
All right. Fair enough. Well, let's see if we can go for the perfect 5 for 5. And I got to be honest with you. I don't think that you're going to agree with me on this one, but you know, Nick, I don't like to do a lot of home cooking here on the show. It's Locked On NFL. If you want Titans stuff, you can hit me up on Locked On Titans. But 7.5 points against a Houston offense that is literally in the mud. I cannot turn that down. Titans plus 7.5. The Houston road game, the Titans won 3 games last year. One of them was on the road against Houston. The owner of the Tennessee Titans, Amy Adams-Strunk, lives 20 minutes away from the Houston Texans Stadium. Her family is from Texas. If you're not old enough to remember, her father, Bud Adams, moved the team from Houston to Tennessee. That game means more to her. The Titans are in turmoil right now. Brian Callahan, the head coach, gives up play-calling duties to Bo Hardegree, who used to call plays for the Las Vegas Raiders during their interim season in 2023. I think that the Texans are so bad up front on offense, and their offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, is so bad that even though I have the Texans winning this football game, there is no way they're going to win by more than 7 points. Give me the Titans plus 7.5 on the road against the Texans.
I actually agree with you.
Let's go. We got one on the way out. We got one.
It feels like way too many points.
Yes.
You know, I need to see this Houston offense be competent from beginning to end of a football game. I need to see CJ Stroud play better. I need to see Nick Caley, who is a first-time play caller, figure things out before I believe that I can take them with a 7.5 point, plus here for Tennessee. I think it's way too many points. I can't do it. I'm taking Tennessee with that 7.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there. For me, it's not about belief in the Titans because trust me, folks, if you listen to my Titans content, you should know that I do not believe in the Tennessee Titans, but that's way too many points against the Texans offense that's really, really struggling right now. But I can tell you what, even if the Texans, 2 things that I can tell you for sure if the Texans do beat this spread. Number 1, I still don't believe in the Texans. And number 2, Brian Callahan is fired, ladies and gentlemen. If he goes down there and doesn't at least cover this spread. But with that being said, that is going to do it for today's edition of Locked On NFL. I am your host, the Madman, for my co-host, Nick Cattles. As we tell you every episode, thanks for tuning in and stay safe out there.